A dramatic and heartbreaking surge of desperate people at the southern border presents a complicated immigration issue becoming more urgent by the day.
And it is becoming more politically charged by the day. Democrats excoriated former President Trump on his immigration policies, including separating children from their parents at the border. Now Republicans are blaming the Biden administration for its immigration policies, and South Florida members of Congress were among those who visited the border this week for a first-hand look.
Among those, freshman Republican Rep. Carlos Gimenez joining us now live. Congressman, good morning. Great to have you with us.
Congressman, how are you?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Sorry. You know, when we spoke earlier this week at the airport, when you were fresh back from the border, you were saying that the Biden administration has incentivized people, which is why there was this surge. The Biden administration is pointing the finger directly at the Trump administration for dismantling, in its words, the components there for a humanitarian and safe legal immigration. Did you see that at the border?
No, I think, look, it's the rhetoric, it's the policies, and then finally the legislation that's being proposed. All of those are incentives, and that's why we have this surge of immigrants at the border. I mean, before, most of the immigrants come seeking political asylum, and that's what they say. When under the Trump administration, they were kept in Mexico, and then they would have a hearing. 90% of those hearings would find that there was no basis for political asylum. Therefore, 90% of the immigrants would be sent home. Now, under the Biden administration, they come into the country. They're released into the country. They do show up for their asylum hearing, but once the 90% is found not to be eligible for political asylum, the judges then give them a couple of days or a couple of weeks to finish their business, because normally these asylum hearings take about two years, and then they don't show up.
Actually, we actually have seen video this week and only the last couple of days of families, people, adults being deported, turned around, sent back to Mexico.
Right.
It looks like the biggest change is that the unaccompanied minors are not being turned around, but are being allowed to come in, and there are just not enough staffing resources to accommodate, and that's where you get this. And I know crisis is a word that is sort of up in the air now, but it is a crisis of these kids.
You still have folks that are being turned. Article 42, it's about the COVID-19 crisis. That's the difference. But it's now the catch and release policies of President Obama have been reinstated. The problem is, without a doubt, the unaccompanied children, and there are hundreds, if not thousands of them, that are crossing the border. A lot of them, it just breaks your heart when you see them at the Customs and Border Protection facilities by themselves, as young as 5, 4 years old, up to about 17, and that's really, heartbreaking. And they're crossing more and more. The Biden administration is now going to open up a convention center in Dallas to handle up to 3,000 of them. I don't know they're going to be opening up the Homestead facility. I think it's going to be very politically charged for them to do that, seeing that the Vice President of the United States actually was outside of it when it was open and was demonstrating against it. It'd be very tough for the Biden administration, I think, to open it. But we'll see.
Can I just, for people listening, and I know you have been, when Homestead was open, you were inside, we were too. And the kids in cages that people are talking about are actually the border facilities where they are supposed to be moved out ASAP into the shelters like Homestead used to be, which for sure are not ideal places for kids. But that is not the kids in cages issue. That is actually a shelter for them where they try to find their sponsors. I just wanted to put that out for people who don't realize that.
Yeah, Glenna, those cages, those pictures were actually taken during the Obama years. They weren't part of the Trump years. And so I didn't see any cages when I was at the Customs and Border Patrol facility there in El Paso, Texas. They were inside a big room, one for young girls and one for young boys. And but again, there were hundreds of them. And then the facility in Homestead, they didn't have cages. These were dorm settings. The kids were being taught English. They had 3 square meals a day. They had recreation facilities. They were supervised. I think there was 8 kids to 1 adult. About 8 kids to a room that's kind of divided with a bathroom in the middle. And so there was nothing like I said then when I was the mayor, I said there was nothing there that made me ashamed to be an American. Why people were demonstrating outside, I don't know. I actually spoke to the kids there. I mean, I speak Spanish, so I spoke to them. And I said, hey, are they treating you fine? Are they treating you okay? And I was away from all of the officials. I mean, I went by myself.
So that said, though,
said they were fine,
right?
yeah.
But that said, that's not a place for these young people, and the issue is they are leaving violence, potential death. So what does the United States do right now to make them safe harbor in a humanitarian way, and yet not overwhelm the border?
Look, the truck is dangerous. Okay, they are dealing with cartels, multinational cartels, that are charging somewhere between $4,000 and $6,000 each person. The Chinese immigrants that are coming through the border, and then you do have some, they're being charged $35,000. So we estimate that the cartels are making somewhere around $500 million a month with this surge. Up to 30% of the young girls that are being trafficked get molested, and so the trek itself is super dangerous, and it, not only to the youngsters, but also to the immigrants themselves. If they can't pay the $4,000 to $6,000 that for transit, they have to pay it off when they get here, basically indentured servants. And so we really need to disincentivize this trek. It's only helping these cartels. They use them for drug trafficking. They also use them to divert attention for Customs and Border Patrol. They send a surge through a certain area. Customs and Border Protection goes to that area. Then they go ahead and smuggle their drugs and other things through other areas of the border that are unprotected. When I spoke to Customs and Border Patrol agents, they said they need more personnel. They need the wall to be finished. Those segments that were already funded and under construction, they need that to be finished. They need also enhanced technology to help them out. And I also feel that we need hundreds and hundreds more judges so that we can adjudicate these cases.
Congressman, we've needed more immigration judges for the last couple of years. I mean, this border surge is the biggest maybe ever, but there have been other border surges. Congressman, I just simply have to ask you, I think out of fairness, in 1966, Congress passed the Cuban Adjustment Act, and for the next 51 years, Cubans were given an incentive, as it were, and an legal ability to leave Cuba, come to the United States, live legally, become citizens within a year. So you yourself, your family came. You were 8 years old, I believe, when your family came from Cuba. So, acting humanely is a good thing generally. It certainly was a good thing for you.
Yeah, it is. But we were fleeing political. It was a political asylum. I mean, it was purely political asylum. We were fleeing communism. In our case, it's a different story with a lot of the migrants that are coming here now. A lot of it is economic. A lot of them are trying to flee a very, very difficult situation at home. And I I'm with them on that, but it has to be done legally. When we came over here, when the Cubans came over here, they did it legally because they had a certain legal status. And so if we want to change it, let's go ahead and change it legally, all right? This is a country of laws, and we need to remain a country of laws. It can't be done in an illegal fashion.
And you and your colleagues in South Florida, Maria Salazar, Mario Diaz-Balart, will be very instrumental as these bills go through Congress this week, and we invite you to keep in touch on that. And we so appreciate your time, as always.
Congressman Gimenez, thank you very much.